What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a quick tutorial for you on how to make patches for your cosplay. I'm currently working on Pizza Delivery SIVIR from League of Legends, and the cosplay calls for two patches. One for the hat and one for the shirt. I'll be taking you step by step today on my process for how I made these, so hopefully it can help you make any patches that you need for your cosplays in the future. Let's get started.
The very first thing that needs to be established when making any patch is your design. If you've ever cosplayed from League of Legends, you probably have recognized there are usually several differences between official art references. This is definitely the case for Pizza Delivery SIVIR. Just looking at the patch for her hat, in the splash art it appears almost like a shoe, whereas in the in-game model and the concept art, it's pretty obviously a slice of pizza. There's no wrong answers in cosplay. As long as you're happy with your final product, that's all that matters in making those kind of design choices. So I went with making a slice of pizza. When you look at this shirt patch, it seems to be generally the same design across all three references. However, there's not really a super clear, high-resolution image to just pull the design from. If you have that for your patches, it's easy peasy to just work straight off of that. But oftentimes, you're more likely to be working in a situation where you'll have to create your own pattern to work off of. To make my patch patterns, I first sketched out the design on paper. I scanned in my sketch and digitized it using GIMP, which is like Photoshop. I printed the patterns out a few times to make sure the sizing was correct, keeping an extra copy in my cosplay binder. For the base of my patches, to give them a solid structure to work on, I used a heavy fabric stabilizer usually used for quilting. Before using any fabric, be sure to always iron it. The fabrics I chose to include on my patches are the following: gold 4-way stretch lycra from Yaya Han, brown faux suede, red faux leather, and white denim. I didn't buy anything new or fancy for this project, I just used remnants from my own fabric collection. After prepping my fabrics, I cut out my patterns. I then transferred the outline to my stabilizer and cut those out as well. I used the white denim as the main fabric of the patch, so I cut my pattern pieces out to fully cover the stabilizer, leaving a bit of extra space around the edge for now. To attach the denim, I used 3M Super 77 spray adhesive. You can use this or your standard fabric glue, but this is what I had on hand. Super 77 produces very strong fumes, so please be sure to go outside and use a ventilator mask if you're using this. Leaving that extra bit of space on the outside edge made it easier to attach the denim to the stabilizer, as I didn't have to perfectly line it up when placing it, and I didn't want to have to worry about the fabric getting accidentally frayed before it was put on. I then trimmed down the excess denim to meet the edge of the stabilizer. Now it's time to chop up that pattern. I cut apart the patterns into each section so I could mark them off accurately on my patches. For the pieces I wanted to add accent fabric, I used the patterns and cut out the tiny pieces of fabric. For the remainder of the space on the patches where I didn't use any accent fabric, I painted in detail with acrylic paint. This can be as basic or as detailed as you want, with whatever level of shading your design calls for. This was probably my favorite part of the patches, as I'm originally a traditional artist, and anytime I can paint, I'm happy. If you wanted to, you could also just opt to use more fabric for these parts. It's totally up to you. After painting in what I wanted, it was time to tack on the fabric accents. I used a tiny bit of hot glue to attach just in the middle of the fabric, making sure to leave the edges free of glue so it wouldn't interfere with my hand stitching later. Now, these are pretty cute, and that was fun, but here comes the actual tedious work. I used different colored thread to hand stitch the edging around every line of my design. Anywhere one color meets another, I hand embroidered back and forth with doubled up thread. I spent probably a good 20 hours doing this, so please don't expect to be able to procrastinate this on the car ride to the convention, because it will probably take you longer than you expect, especially if you're trying to get clean lines. To help align my thread a bit better, I first took long stitches along the outline of where my embroidered edge would sit. This helped me position my needle in a consistent spot while stitching. I didn't figure out to do that until after I had struggled for a while, so I definitely recommend that you learn from my troubles. After many long hours of hand stitching, I was finally finished. I sewed the pizza slice onto the hat and made sure to use the correct thread color that blended in with each part that I had stitched on. The little poro patch will be sewn on the same way once I have the shirt all done. So yeah, pretty simple and easy way to make your own patches for cosplay without an expensive embroidery machine.
Thank you so much for watching my tutorial. If you found this video helpful, make sure you leave a like down below and leave a comment letting me know what cosplay you're working on next. If you'd like to check out more of my work, I will leave my social media links in the description down below. I'm currently working on 9 projects because I'm out of my mind. And don't forget to subscribe for more cosplay content in the future!